So The Rock, the final boss, has finally returned to WWE at Bad Blood a couple of weeks ago, and it was an amazing moment. Now, although I feel like it was an amazing moment, when I look back at it in retrospect, it's kind of weird if you think about it, because it feels like that although we visually saw this man return, it almost feels like it didn't really happen, like some type of weird fever dream. So let me explain to you what I mean by that. So after the main event at Bad Blood, The Rock showed up in an outfit worth 1 year of my salary before taxes, which is kind of depressing when you think about it. He came out, threw up a couple of gang signs at Roman, Cody, and Jimmy Uso, threatened them on live TV in front of millions of people, and then poof, he disappeared. Now, the weird part too after that is that on the SmackDowns following Bad Blood, they didn't even mention the entire situation, which I understand because WWE likes to preserve the mystique of The Rock. He can move in and out, come and go as he please, because a wrestler with that type of cachet in the pro wrestling industry, he's going to be afforded that type of motion. And whether you like it or not, it just is what it is, and it plays well into his final boss character, which I love. But by him doing that, it does leaves us with a lot of questions. Like, what is he going to do with the Bloodline 2.0? What is he going to do to deal with Roman Reigns, seeing him join forces with his adversary? How is he going to deal with Solo Sikoa after he's been losing clean so many times? And what is this plan that Solo Sikoa was talking about in the crowd on a video on Twitter? Well, that's where we come in. We're going to try to piece these things together and try to book what The Rock should do next when dealing with the Bloodline 2.0. But before we get started, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. So as I said before, The Rock has not been mentioned on any episode of SmackDown following Bad Blood. So when he does return to SmackDown, and hopefully is before Survivor Series, what he should do is at the end of the episode, come out to the center of the ring and call out the Bloodline to join him for a conversation. So you should have the Bloodline 2.0 standing in the line, and with Solo Sikoa, of course, standing in the front, assuming his place as the tribal chief of this bloodline with a huge smirk on his face, like this was all part of the plan. This all worked out. This is all going in the right direction, and you should have The Rock look at him. And The Rock looks at him and says, I saw what you said on social media. You said that this was all a part of the plan, and you were absolutely right. You were correct in that. You played your part, so congratulations for doing that. Because the point of this plan was to expose Roman Reigns as the weak and emotional leader that I thought he was last year when he was a part of my team. I felt that on him. I could smell it on him. But I needed this moment to really expose him for who he is, especially seeing him joining forces with Cody Rhodes and the Cody Crybabies. Now, thank you for that. But here's the thing. We have a new plan in place, and this time around, it does not guarantee that you, Solo, will be a part of it. Now, as I'm looking around your neck, I see the Ula Fala, something that's very important to the lineage of the Samoan history. And that thing does two things to an individual. One, the person who wears it, it either adds and shows the strength of that person, or the other thing that it does is it exposes the weakness in a leader. It definitely did that in your cousin. But what you've been doing lately, taking all these losses, being a disgrace as a leader, a disgrace as the tribal chief, you are disrespecting that Ula Fala. And The Rock does not like that. The Rock does not like you disrespecting our lineage. Now, I'm going to give you one more chance because I have respect to your father, Rikishi, and I think you can do better. So what I want you to do is when you go to Survivor Series, if you win that Bloodline of Civil War match, I'm going to allow you to keep the Ula Fala around your neck. But if you don't, I'm going to remove that off your neck myself and give it to another member of the bloodline who truly deserves to be the tribal chief. Now go make daddy happy. Now the crowd is going crazy because they're like, oh my God, The Rock just disrespect Solo Sikoa. Solo might get fired on his day off. Jacob Fatu may be the new tribal chief. And this is going to be a moment to make the crowd go crazy. And then we move on to Survivor Series. So at Survivor Series, of course, we get the Bloodline Civil War in the War Games match between Jimmy and Jey Uso, Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes versus the Bloodline 2.0. Now, I think this is going to be a fantastic match. I think it's going to be way better than a lot of us think it's going to be. And it's not just going to be a squash match, especially seeing Jacob Fatu going back and forth with Roman. That's going to be a dope moment. But a lot of people who are Solo Sikoa fans isn't going to like what I'm going to decide how this match is going to end. And I think the Bloodline 2.0 is definitely going to lose this match and lose it in a sense to where Solo is going to be the person to take the pin just to add more drama to the whole situation. Because not only did he lose the match to disrespect The Rock, but he also was the person who got pinned in this match. And then on top of that, Jacob Fatu actually saw Solo Sikoa getting pinned at the end and didn't do anything. So now the fans are going to be thinking, did The Rock tell Jacob Fatu to do this? Did Jacob do this on his own? We're going to find out on the next episode of SmackDown. So in the next episode of SmackDown, it's going to happen the exact same way the other one did, where The Rock calls out the Bloodline 2.0 to come to the ring. But the thing that's going to be significantly different is the energy on Solo Sikoa, whereas before he had a smirk on his face, he looked like something good is going to happen. We're going to roll out this crazy plan and take over. This time around, he's looking upset, frustrated. His arrogance is oozing out like, I am the tribal chief. What does this have to do with The Rock? This has nothing to do with him. I'm the tribal chief. Why do I have to listen to him? But they go into the ring, and then you see them line up. And then you see Solo Sikoa standing in front of them because he's the leader. Now, The Rock looks at Solo Sikoa and says, Solo, look at me. Remember the ultimatum I gave you before Survivor Series? I told you if you won that match, the Rock would allow you to keep that Ulafala. But if you lose that match, I will take it off you personally. And not only did you lose that match, you also were the one pinning it. So not only did you disrespect the final boss, but you disobeyed the final boss. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. And then Solo puts his hand in his face and says, hey, I'm the tribal chief. You're not going to tell me what to do with my Ulafala. And Jacob Fatu and The Rock's like, hey, you're out of line, boy. And it doesn't matter what Jacob Fatu did or didn't do. He did exactly what the final boss told him to do. And then you see Solo look at Jacob Fatu like, bro, you disrespected. You stabbed me in the back. And The Rock like, look at me. Look at me. Takes off his sunglasses. And if you ever speak up to the final boss, it's going to be really bloody for you. Now give me the Ulafala, and I'm only going to ask you once. And then you see Solo Sikoa kind of looking around, like looking at the Bloodline 2.0, like, we're going to let him talk. I'm your tribal chief. Y'all going to let him talk to me like that? Y'all going to like, it's kind of like the whole Training Day thing with Denzel Washington. Y'all going to do this to me? Basically, like, you going to let him talk to me like this? And then you see the other member just kind of standing there like, this ain't our problem. Why are they doing this? Because they want to listen to the final boss, but also maybe they all want to put a position as a tribal chief. And if they step up, that's going to ruin that whole situation. So then Solo looks at The Rock and he knows that he can't take The Rock one-on-one. And then he reluctantly takes the Ulafala off and gives it to The Rock. And The Rock looks at the Ulafala and he says, all right, I'm going to do exactly as I said before. Now, I'm going to give this to a member of this bloodline that I feel like definitely deserves this Ulafala. He stands in front of Tangaloa, and of course the crowd boos. Like, boo, they don't want him. He's not going to know how to wear the Ulafala. He doesn't know how to do anything right. He steps over to Tama Tonga, and Tama Tonga is looking down. He has his head down, ready to get it put over his neck, and the crowd is kind of probably half and half on it. Boo, yeah, we don't want this to happen. And he stands in front of Jacob Fatu, and he looks at Jacob, and he has a smirk on his face, and everybody in the crowd is going crazy because they want this to happen. They want Jacob Fatu to be the tribal chief. And then The Rock opens up the Ulafala in order to put it over the neck of Jacob Fatu. But then he takes it back. He said, you know what? You have a lot of potential, and I have a lot of respect for your loyalty, and you have great potential in the future. I can tell you run by logic and not by emotion. But this is what's going to happen. We're going to do this the traditional way. So upcoming, we have WWE Saturday Night Main Event. You, Solo Sikoa, you guys are going to engage in tribal combat. And whoever wins that match, The Rock will personally put the Ulafala over their neck. And Solo, don't ever disrespect me again. And because I have love for your father, that's the only reason I'm giving you one last opportunity to do something great. So then The Rock takes it in his hand, and then he walks out. And then you see Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa kind of looking at each other, but then you see Tama Tonga kind of looking like why he didn't pick me. Because remember that time that Tama Tonga did pick up the Ulafala at one point to give it to Solo, and he was looking at it like he wanted to put it over his neck. So Tama Tonga has a position where he does kind of want to be the tribal chief. So I know you guys disagree with the idea that this type of match should happen at WWE's Saturday Night Main Event, but the reason why I picked this is because it's the closest PLE to Survivor Series, and for it to have that quick of a turnaround time, it makes all the sense in the world. Also, I'm sure WWE wants to have as much eyes on the premiere of this product as possible. So having this type of match there, in addition to the other matches on this card, and ultimately with The Rock showing up with the Ulafala, is going to give it that much more of a ratings boost, and it's going to work really, really well. Now, as far as the match itself, I think it should get like a ton of time. I think it's going to be a lot better than most people anticipated, especially with the involvement of weapons and things like that, with these guys just beating each other, like destroying each other. And it doesn't have to have a whole lot of blood, just have to look like a really hard hitting match. Now, what I don't want to happen is for the Bloodline 2.0 to get involved, as in the Guerrillas of Destiny. I don't want them attacking anyone. If anything, just to add to the story, maybe they should come out and then seem like they're going to help Solo Sikoa, but actually don't, and allow Jacob Fatu to actually win this match clean. Now, when that does happen, you should have The Rock come out with the Ulafala and then talk to Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, and then tell Solo, take this Ulafala and crown your new tribal chief. And that's an order. And then you see Solo walk up to The Rock to grab the Ulafala and try to hit The Rock with the Samoan spike. You see Jacob block the Samoan spike, and you see the Guerrillas of Destiny and Jacob Fatu destroy Solo Sikoa in the middle of the ring. Even the final boss gets some licks in to kind of show him you don't disrespect the final boss like that. And then you see The Rock put the Ulafala over the neck of Jacob Fatu. Now, at that point, you write Solo Sikoa off of TV. But that's going to be it so far for the how to book this whole situation with the Bloodline 2.0 and The Rock. If you want a part 2 and me to continue this, just let me know in the comment section. It's super early in the morning, so my brain is kind of fried right now. So I thank you guys so much for watching this. Let me know in the comment section, what do you like about this fantasy booking? What don't you like? And what would you change? I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Salute. Peace. Have a good day.